How could a bedridden student mocked as a failure return with the instincts of a monster slayer? Chendu lost 2 years in the ordinary world, yet those same years forged the power that would overturn his destiny. When his classmates see him dragging his weak body to the final exams, they start pointing and laughing. Those clueless haters have absolutely no idea what really went down. Every single wave he survived boosted his mind power to insane levels. Tonight, right before the big exam, the 5th monster wave finally descends. Chendu moves like lightning, piercing the giant dragon's skull with his signature strike. Total is 750 points split between academics and martial arts. Get ready to start the testing phase. He is super confident about becoming a warrior, remembering how his life paused back during his freshman year of high school. This is his absolute last shot at becoming a real warrior, and he refuses to let his parents down. Fung Rui reaches out, wanting to teach him a lesson right then and there. He is busy massaging his wrist, which is still throbbing from that crazy grip. Just wait until the practical exam starts. Pretty basic stuff, honestly. 2 years later, the brutal war ended in total defeat with over 10 billion dead. Everyone awakened unique abilities ranging from raw physical strength and elemental controls to incredibly powerful mental arts. Having answered every single question, Chendu confidently clicks the submit button on his computer. After all, he wasn't actually just sleeping in that coma for 2 years. Half an hour later, Chendu walks in grinning. She scolds him for being clumsy, warning him not to lose his exam ticket. "Look at this," his dad says, making Chendu gasp. He begs him to stop working hard labor. Just do not overthink it. As night falls, Chendu sits cross-legged to meditate, realizing that 1 bottle of blood key powder costs 20. Probably wiping out their savings. Suddenly, his surroundings shift, dragging him into an icy fantasy world. If the crystal shatters, he falls into a coma all next day. Only after figuring out the death recharge exploit did his conditions start getting back on track. This mental buff gives him insane memory and comprehension, making his 2-year dropout gap feel like nothing at all. Chendu slides into stance, unleashing a heavy strike that one-shots the nearest beast instantly. Wiping the fresh blood off his face, he pulls up his character stat screen. Name: Chendu, Vitality 5. Wave 5 is about to drop. It breathes pure hellfire right at Chendu. Just when it seems hopeless, Chendu smarts his way out, using the recoil to vault forward. Standing right before the fire dragon, Chendu unleashes his flowing light sword ultimate. Clutching his wounded shoulder, he realizes it's going totally berserk. Dodging in a flash, he tells himself to keep. Leaping high to clash with the beast, Chendu aims his blade straight down its throat. Moving like a phantom in the wind, the second he is in range, he chucks his sword straight ahead. This unstoppable blade of pure light pierces straight through the fire-breathing dragon boss's skull. Chendu isn't done yet hacking away at its neck. He unlocks the supreme reward, the Void Immortal visualization method. This mind power boost is huge, but a Void Immortal art, unbelievable. Hearing that, Chendu lets out a heavy sigh, trying to get his breathing back under control. Their faces look utterly hideous, exactly like ancient demon gods from myths. Facing that pressure, Chu isn't about to risk it. Looks like he won't be clearing this stage anytime soon. He stares intently at the Void Immortal manual in his hands, channeling his mental power to absorb the information. Standing right before Chendu is a massive, multi-eyed monstrosity towering into the sky, staring down at him with a sick grin. As long as he keeps staring at this titan, the trial will keep testing his mind. Out of nowhere, his little sister Chenlin swings the door open. He just chuckles, turning to face his sister, even though his body is still slightly shaking from that terrifying training. She blushes furiously, her heart doing flips as she secretly stares at his newly shredded six-pack. Wow, he looks totally different. That Void Immortal technique is seriously doing wonders for his body. Then a sarcastic voice cuts through the room. Getting hurt now or pulling in the teachers will only ruin things for everyone, so just play nice and drop it. Look at Fung Rui acting so wildly arrogant. This exam is going to use a pretty brutal competitive elimination system. The martial arts exam is split into a raw power test and actual combat. Chendu tells him it is starting. When their turn comes, they see a massive mechanical bear that acts as a power meter. This year's power exam rules are honestly beyond crazy. He clenches his fist, making up his mind speed is what wins this game. His lackey go absolutely wild, cheering for their boss, bragging about how insanely overpowered Fung Rui actually is. He is definitely number 1, and someone here is about to get eliminated. 1/500 of force, hitting a level 5. His new buddy Li Hao keeps hyping him up. 1 life intensity usually means a 0 OB punch. Unless his martial arts mastery is. Looking through the records, the teacher falls into deep thought. Right after him comes that arrogant bully Fung Rui. Not a single chance, some say. Real combat is about technique, not just raw power. The staff moves like a swarm of wrapping threads, aiming straight for him, but he effortlessly dodges every single strike. He starts launching a series of powerful, precise sword counterattacks. Knowing he can't keep this up, Fung Rui pours all his power into his staff, screaming for Chendu to die. While he is lost in his thoughts, the opponent's staff acts like a compressed spring, waiting for the perfect peak moment before launching lightning fast straight at his chest. Chendu finally unleashes his forest breeze sword technique, slamming Fung Rui until the guy is coughing up pure blood. Ling barks orders for the medical team to check on Fung Rui, while telling the other kids to prepare for the next real combat round. Getting hurt in combat is pretty normal. Chendu thanks him, but as he walks away, he tells Wang Kai to report this to the principal. Even though he can't afford private martial arts tutors, he plugs the machine in to boot it up. Alright, watch him step inside. This is the ultimate showcase of raw martial skills recognized by every major ecosystem across the entire planet. Using the simulator, he finds himself in a new dimension. Wearing a hilarious cute pig head avatar to completely hide his face, Chendu materializes inside a vast blank 3-dimensional white room. Since this isn't some school exam, there's no need for polite greetings before throwing hands. The girl instantly recognizes it, shocked that he's actually using the Thong Long DM Thick technique. Flowing light thrust shouldn't be bound to static forms. She instantly flashes right in front of him, warning him to quit zoning out. Look closely at this move. As his vision fades, a super salty Chendu can only curse. Penpen Bear loses to Nuclear Bomb Seller Girl. The flowing light sword style only has 4 moves in total. Assassins thrive on sneak attacks, but his fighting style is way too direct and upfront. After queuing up for his next match, he draws a massive beefcake of a dude whose weapon of choice is a heavy chain tied to 2 giant iron wrecking balls. Still, he decides to face the guy head-on because his martial arts skill level is way higher, meaning he holds the ultimate advantage. Realizing he just got clapped twice by a green kid who is still wet behind the ears, the big guy loses his mind. Chendu completely disagrees. While the giant stands there frozen in utter shock, Chendu rests his blade right against his neck, proving who is actually right. Wang Dashui loses plus 10 points. Skill does not just mean being clever. The Rising Dragon Thrust is just one form of his flowing light sword style. Ultimately, a sword is a weapon that can never be defined. He keeps going, match after match, but after a wild streak of non-stop battles, his stomach starts growling, forcing him to log out of the simulation pod, hurry and pull up the detailed rankings. 7th Ecosystem Youth Board rank 654. Reading through his personal stats, Chendu can barely contain his raw hype. Back at the Liangking First High School Gymnard, students are already gathering. Fung Li points right at his face, declaring that since a new term is starting, he will personally enforce a strict dress code inspection on everyone. Fun Liu barks at the crowd, but since they cannot speak up, they just start whispering behind his back. Rumor has it Chendu only won by popping banned performance drugs. It is all wrong, every single bit. These comply with school rules. Just then, a cold voice cuts through the room. Principal, it is this kid. That is absolutely insane. Chendu is seriously cracked. Beating Fung Rui required absolutely 0 effort. On the right is Mo Lady, the #1 rank in school. That is exactly what they are. Each city will send their top 3 third-year fighters based on martial rankings. Minimum reward is 10 points and 100 cash. Compared to simulations, the district leaders all agree that real combat is way more effective. With his daily growth rate, securing a spot in the top 3 is going to be incredibly easy. After thinking it over for a bit, all 3 of them finally agree. If he takes a top 3 spot, his parents will never have to break their backs working again. Usually these desks have name tags assigned to students, but the elite class does not seem to have any of that, so he just sits down anyway. Chendu looks at his massive frame and actual bearing class. Just as he prepares to teach Panghua a lesson, Mo Lightite suddenly steps in to stop them. Honestly, Chendu is completely shocked as cold sweat rolls down his face. Consider yourself lucky, punk. Chendu can only click his tongue. With that, Mate proudly turns and heads back toward his own seat, the coveted rank 1 spot. He wants to make his parents proud. With those resources, he can easily surpass geniuses from 100 other cities in no time. Class has started, heads straight to the training room next door. A challenger can issue up to 3 challenges maximum. The other students erupt like a disturbed beehive. Teacher Ling calculates the odds. Chendu knows he has to go all out. He must grab it at all costs. He never expected his totally random target to be Panghua. Suddenly, Teacher Ling pops up next to them with a warning. Once both of them are geared up and standing in the center of the arena, Teacher Ling signals for the match to begin. Before the words even settle, a massive hammer is already in his face. One can decide a fight, let alone a massive gap of a whole level. Won yesterday, but how on earth did it shoot up to 5? Before he can even process it, Chendu is standing right in front of him like a ghost. Chendu flashes a cold smirk, unleashing a lightning-fast coiling dragon strike that drives straight up into Pang's exposed gut. As Chendu's arm trembles, Teacher Ling grabs his wrist, whispering that this was the coiling dragon strike. Teacher Ling's mind goes completely blank. A whole level difference. Definitely fits the hype of being #1 in Lion King, top 10-0 of Earth's youth. He figures climbing to a higher seat won't give him much more resources anyway, so saving his strength is much smarter. Makes it easier to keep in touch later. Even Panghua, the guy he literally just smashed, is now clinging to his leg with pure admiration. After class, Principal Liu is busy writing his report when there is a knock on his door. Their absolute minimum requirement is for a student's martial skills to reach level 1 perfection. It could take months or even years to cross. Perfect for checking students. He focuses his mental strength, opening his eyes with 0 distractions. Its heavy metal head actually flies straight into the shocked principal's hands. Teacher Ling immediately steps in, insisting he is a pure combat genius. Almost like he has survived countless brutal life or death struggles. He is a total martial arts genius who deserves top priority. He raises his hand to ask what exactly this early admission path is. 5 to get into the Big 8, Chendu stays completely silent. Even though Huxley's defense forces and neighboring cities sent back up as fast as possible, the severe shortage of strong martial artists still resulted in the tragic deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent people. Normally only kids who have already lost family members end up thinking like this. Ling Yun steps up and pats his shoulder. He grabs his bag and heads home. During this training arc, he might as well use some high-grade meds. The stuff he needs is definitely in stock here. Finally, the Martial Alliance. Nobody can ever deny the massive life-saving contributions he has made to human civilization. He wants 3 boxes of Thunder Blood pills. They come with a serious catch. Hand on the scanner ready to go. She panics and assumes the machine is totally busted. Back at school in his private training room, he sits down to read the user guide. Warning: dropping 3 at once makes the pain 5 times more intense than a single dose. He figures that test at the shop was only half as intense as taking a single pill. He confidently tosses all 3 pills into his mouth. Suddenly the system rings in his head, congratulating him as his vitality level jumps from 5. Wait, he originally planned to stretch this potion over a whole month. And now it looks like it will only last 10 days. To survive this, he absolutely has to land a top 2 spot in the 100-city clash. The wild lightning energy ripping through him completely paralyzed his body on the spot. Waking up, he stretches his sore muscles. Even though he could not beat them yet, his mental power got a massive upgrade. Slipping through the halls, Chendu finally makes it to the elite class. Rocking an absolutely gorgeous hot body, she welcomes everyone, announcing that today they will learn combat methods, specifically applying mental power in real battle. This boosts every fighter's explosive power, channeling their hidden potential exactly where it needs to go. They probably mastered this mind power attachment ages ago. If they want to crush the college entrance exams, they must focus on boosting their life force first. She announces she will play an exhausting melody on her piccolo to test exactly where their mental limits lie. It won't hurt his grade. that thought triggers his competitive drive and he confidently speaks up asking the teacher to let him take the test. Once he falls flat on his face, she will just pull him aside later for some private tutoring. Her melody is about to drain both their bodies and minds completely. Chendu feels himself getting sucked into a heavy illusion. Before he can even react, it throws a heavy kick straight at him. Playing her flute, the teacher closely monitors the illusion she casted on the class. His mind power is way sturdier than she expected. With that, Ya injects a heavier surge of mental force into her music. Man, this is exhausting. His family is dirt poor, so he definitely couldn't buy expensive spiritual defense items. Pang Hu, who gave up early, bursts out laughing when he sees the guy who beat him still holding on strong. Even Moit, the top dog of the elite class, is flattened on the floor, gasping for air. Teacher Yadai is completely stunned by his performance. She instantly cranks up the spiritual pressure, making his entire body shake violently as he really struggles to breathe. Teacher Yadai cannot help but praise him because having spiritual power way above his base vitality level is a total miracle. Cut to the principal office where his loud scream absolutely terrifies a poor female staff member waiting outside. Hearing this crazy potential report, the principal nods non-stop, his face glowing with pure excitement. The principal says it with pure hype. Once the city championship wraps up, Black Dragon University, which is one of the top 3 schools, will recruit fresh students in Just City. That is because these top 3 martial schools do not recruit through regular college exams. 9 and Tier 1 intermediate martial skills. By the time they can actually make some money, their prime training years are already long gone. With the way things are right now, leaving them might mean saying goodbye forever. A whole month still remains before the 100 city battle even kicks off. While stuffing her face, his little sister quietly studies him, wondering why on earth her brother suddenly feels like an entirely different person these days. They're all here with the entire family gathered at the table. Chendu just smiles to reassure them, telling his mom that the school hooked him up with massive resources, so he won't be struggling like before. Especially since every single student in the elite class gets their own private training room with a personal rest area. Hearing this, his dad Chen, he pumps his fist in pure excitement, telling his son to keep that fire burning. He grabs his bag, deeply moved, and tells them he is heading out to school now. Cut to First High School of Liangchanging, where Chendu unpacks his insane haul of 90 bags of blood key, 30 blood key pills, and 4 packs of perfect blood chi powder. This stash alone is worth at least $50, proving martial arts is seriously a rich man's game. As the training robot complies, a massive mountain of pressure immediately crushes down on him. Feeling like 15 fully grown elephants are literally standing on his chest. In this intense high-gravity environment, even one bad move can easily tear his muscles or break his bones. The bot's red eyes track him constantly, scanning his movements to find any weak spots. They are shutting down all his escape routes. He unleashes a powerful kick straight at its supporting leg, instantly following up with a strike targeting its joints. It launches into a wild spinning mid-air combat maneuver, stretching its arms out like a spiderweb to completely trap him, making Chendu scoff at how the machine is basically cheating. Once freed, he sits cross-legged to meditate, feeling that his physical body has officially hit its limit. Chendu slips right back into the alternate dimension, where that god-tier monster gives him a creepy twisted grin. Let's farm that mental power experience. As he tries to stand, his body completely freezes. He pulls his sword from the ground and marches straight toward the giant demon clan, charging in like a stampede. They are actually a crazy healing ability. Once he shatters that blue spot, they are history. He is dodging like a total boss. One sword strikes straight through the brain and the first giant crashes down. Once he wakes up, he is going straight back to that insane gravity training. It is his very first time staying in a hotel this fancy. This Hodad is Wu Zhang, a fighter representing Luchang City. Chendu frowns, wondering if this guy is actually crazy enough to attack staff here. Mo Late and Libo gasp in shock, asking how a crude guy like that could possibly be so skilled. This is Zhao Xiaolu from Hai Sing. Some people online used to say photos do not do her justice. Seeing his dazed expression, Mo Late nudges him, advising him to just give up right now because she is out of his league. She is a true favored daughter of heaven, way out of reach. He has definitely seen that face somewhere before. He originally thought her avatar was just computer-generated. But she is actually even more gorgeous in real life than in the simulation. Back then, her martial arts were at first stage perfection, a whole tier above him. Joining this 100 Cities tournament was definitely the right choice. There is going to be a brutal badge-snatching battle before the actual knockout rounds. Round 1 kicks off tomorrow with a wild badge hunt deep inside the forest. The number of qualifying teams depends on who hoards the most. Round 2 is a relentless one-on-one knockout stage with almost zero downtime. Even though the matchmaking is completely random, teammates are guaranteed not to end up fighting each other. Teacher Ling adds that the final round is a brutal showdown between the top 10. Imagine that 3 straight days of non-stop fighting with zero rest, plus a massive risk of getting severely injured. One final thing, absolutely no killing allowed. Principal Zhou Cheng of Hyang Hai suddenly addresses the crowd. This area is a highly classified zone belonging to Hai Chai, a spatial rift created centuries ago when 9 major planets collided. Lowering his voice, Principal Zhou Cheng tells everyone not to worry. Get ready to enter the wolf forest. Principal Chu explains that the physical location of the realm is top secret. Out of 300 locations on the map, only 100 hold badges. The magic circle begins to glow. This is actually the inside of the spirit realm. Chendu casually walks over and picks it up to take a closer look. Just as he is speaking, a cold shiver runs down his neck and his eyes instantly go sharp. Usually a bigger city means much stronger students. Looks like 2 teams are already clashing. Kunging's principal Gaiyan is an old rival of Principal Liu. Back in the spirit realm, Chendu slowly draws his sword. Chendu just smirks back. It comes from Li Yuan, the man destined to rule Kung as the absolute king of spears. Hearing the brag, Lu and Mo Light instantly lose their tempers. Liuan roars, unleashing his Comet spear technique, second form, dividing the cranes. Li Yuan's eyes go wide and everyone's life force is suppressed to level 5 here. His gaze turns icy, and with a single thought, he activates his level 9 mental power, channeling all his strength into his arm, his blade flashing bright, flowing light sword technique, first form, prison cage. They crash hard, groaning in absolute agony as their spears drop uselessly to the ground. Not giving him any room to breathe, Chendu dashes forward at absolute full speed. He whispers flowing light sword technique, second form, golden clash. Turns out the supervising teacher stepped in just in time to save him. After that, he turns around to size up the kid, completely shocked on the inside. Down the road, he is definitely going to be an absolute beast who rules this entire region. Principal Liu is loving every second, even with that powerhouse from the Ling Chang team, making it 4 prodigies in total. Only 3 are actually allowed to stand on the podium. Standing with his hands behind his back, calm and totally ruthless, Chendu lays it out. The top-seeded players this time are Zhao Xiao and Kuzhong Tian from Hai Chang, plus Wu Zhang from the Lu Chang team, plus the IC team is hosting this event. Mo Lighty finally gets the picture while Lubo gulps, realizing just how deep their buddy's scheme goes. A smirk plays on his lips, his eyes flashing with confidence and cunning. Suddenly he hears wild, savage growling echoing from the distance. The monster manual records every single beast humanity has stumbled upon up to this point. A pretty wild realization suddenly flashes in his mind. With one swipe, it deeply slashes 2 of her teammates. The girl looks up in sheer shock. They wanted to follow the teacher's orders and fall back immediately if they saw Wang. Xiaoma points a trembling finger over that way. An epic chance like this cannot be missed. Recalling the shady look of the guy who just pointed the way, a wave of unease hits him. Just like that, the 3 use their swift movement techniques to glide forward, completely unaware. After a long run, they enter the absolute deepest part of the wolf forest. Chanyu, those 3 guys were definitely mixing truth with lies. They definitely ran into Wang, but absolutely not on this route. Back when those 3 were attacked, he clearly saw these wolves go completely berserk the very second they catch a whiff of fresh blood. Sharp energy erupts from his sword, cleanly piercing straight through the throat of a lunging mutated wolf. He probably wandered off without even looking at the map. Up in the VIP room, Principal Liu's eyes widen, his heart burning with intense anxiety. These 3 poor kids just ran straight into a pack of mutated wolves. Principal Zhou Cheng breaks it down even further. If these kids blindly follow the map without using their brains, they are basically serving themselves up as a snack. Team Liangcheng has the worst luck ever. Man, that is a nasty trap. With those two on the field easy, cannot even take one single hit. As long as these mutated wolves do not go completely berserk, Luo and Mole can definitely survive this. His teammates break into a cold sweat, shouting in pure panic for Chendu. Another flash of beautiful sword light sends two more wolves straight to the afterlife. His eyes are dead calm, but his strikes are ruthless and crazy precise. The blade energy pours out like a wild waterfall, completely cutting off their escape. Wherever his blade passes, death follows instantly. Their bodies are piling up at his feet like a king. He snorts, bursting with raw energy as he swings his sword back. Lucian's sword, fourth form Rising Blue Dragon. Moi is using every ounce of his strength to hold off the constant attacks. He was always the top-ranked student in class, yet right now useless. Chendu analyzes the situation. Even though he can burst out power equal to level 7, these beasts are way too crafty. Chendu grips his hilt hard, veins popping. He just needs to push past his limit by 1 more %. Suddenly the red-eyed alpha howls like crazy, lunging forward with a gust of wicked freezing wind. He just scoffed in total contempt, unleashing a massive wave of sword energy to blow them right back. He screams internally like a beast. Keep up this peak state and a real chance to turn this around will come. Chendu mate's arm is completely messed up. The two turn back, looking at him with deep worry. A crazed wolf lunges straight at Malidi with deadly claws right at Mo Light's neck. Standing on the dead beast, he coldly commands them to leave, saying he will hold them off alone. Once these wild beasts go fully berserk, their physical speed and strength skyrocket to a truly terrifying level, blindly attacking whatever living thing is closest to them by pure instinct. With a deadly glare, it swings its razor-sharp claws and leaps straight at Chendu. Wondering if the beast has actually evolved. Facing a whole pack of berserk wolves like that, even with a 99% first-tier martial art, he is probably going to die. Up in the VIP room, Principal Taiyuan sigh at how incredibly stubborn this kid is. Zhou Cheng immediately pulls up China's records to look over his past. Zhou Cheng shakes his head, his eyes extremely sharp, explaining that the weird part is not his skill level, but his pure combat instinct, yet he predicts every single wolf attack without even looking. Zhou Cheng sigh, noting that normal people have no right to know about the spirit realm, let alone understand these Gale wolves. Chendu calculates that except for the level 7 alpha, the rest are sitting around 6. Got to find a breakthrough. Dragging this out is a death sentence. On the ground, the pack relentlessly swarms him, forcing his feet back. Glancing back, his brain goes into overdrive, calculating a tiny opening to dodge the next beast leaping straight at him. Right at the edge of life and death wait. His sword must be faster, heavier, stronger. His mentor Ling Yun's ultimate trust in him hit his mind like a heavy adrenaline shot. This is not just some tournament. His eyes go bloodshot, terrifyingly wild and fierce. Suddenly the other wolves pounce on him from behind, and the ferocious alpha wolf thrusts out claws as hard as steel, clamping down tight right on his blade. Though it is a heavy price, the show is officially over. That kid's sword intent feels totally different from before as a massive swirling blue vortex begins to rise, roaring like an ancient beast erupting from Chendu's blade, instantly wiping out the entire attacking pack. Chendu gasps, heavy and slow, his blade's path is now fully aligned with the wind. He slowly lifts his blood-soaked sword. Sword skill upgraded from 98 to 99%. Even for a student who actually possesses tier 1 99% skill, they would eventually run out of gas and get shredded. This raw power does not look like a normal tier 1 99% level at all. Chendu is truly shocking. Trying to stay calm, Zhou Cheng notes that having such insane mental power at the Novice Warrior stage is extremely rare. Ta Woyan pouts and scoffs, complaining that his fellow proctor is being way too harsh on the kid. Out of nowhere, the stadium crowd starts booing in sheer rage. The proctor will be forced to step in to save them, which automatically means Chendu gets disqualified from the tournament. Right now there is not a single other squad lingering around this entire exit zone. His loyal lackey gives him an enthusiastic thumbs up. Wait, something feels incredibly off here, Xia squeals in pure excitement. Jiang Guai stares at the bloody battlefield littered with dead wolves. Suddenly, Django's pupils shrink in pure horror as a terrifying realization hits him. Long changing was never disqualified. There is absolutely no way that weakling Chendu slaughtered this entire pack of monsters all by himself. From the deep shadows of the bushes, a chilling voice heavy with murderous intent echoes. His suffocating aura completely crushes them as Mo Light and Liuba walk behind him. An unarmed proctor could never cleanly slaughter a massive pack of vicious wolves like this with a sword. Normally, Teacher Ling uses all kinds of different weapons to spar with his students during martial arts class. He gnashes his teeth, knowing if he does not spill the truth, he is dead. To save his own skin, Jiangguai quickly spills more details. One of Misang's guys tries to play dirty, drawing his weapon to sneak attack Chendu from behind. But in a split second, Chendu flashes past like lightning clink. With his eyes rolling back, Jiangguai collapses to the ground, screaming in sheer rage. It is the instructor leading the Miching squad. Turns out the Miching team instructor has absolutely zero class as a master and is nothing to fear. Looking at the two badges, he gives a mysterious smile. As the map pops up, he waves his hand to direct. The real danger of gathering these badges is not actually at the destination, but scattered all along the roads leading up to it. The organizers designed this entire wolf forest with absolute precision, making it incredibly meticulous and brutal. Even if they somehow grab them, surviving the trip to turn them in at the moon mark is another story. Suddenly, a figure steps out of the bushes right ahead, blocking their path. Curses inwardly, damn it, out of the frying pan and straight into the fire. Running straight into the only perfection-level experts of the host team. Chendu silently observes that this guy not only radiates an incredibly sharp, deadly sword intent, but his oppressive aura is also insanely heavy. He suddenly smashes his heavy wooden case right onto the ground. Chendu and his crew instantly tense up, tensing their muscles and drawing weapons, ready for a brutal clash. This newcomer is Zhou Xiaolu, the famous sea princess. She admits she did not expect another hidden expert at peak tier 1 level in this tournament besides Wu Zhang. With that, the duo turns and walks away. Seriously, this sly fox literally trades nuclear bombs and backstabs everyone in the simulation room. This fake show is highly entertaining. That dirty style is literally her entire brand, exposed right on the spot. The whole city is watching this live stream. He rests his head back, staring intensely at his system screen to plot his next move. Chendu clenches his fists tightly, a wild, passionate fire igniting in his sleepy eyes. If he enters the crystal dimension tonight and wipes out all 7 waves of beasts back to back, he will finally smash his bottleneck and hit level 10. Stepping onto tomorrow's arena with level 10 mental power means this entire championship trophy is absolutely already as good as his. His eyes instantly turning dead serious, Chendu realizes these are double-faced 3-bladed bear gorillas with a threat level of level 7. Sparks flying with a deafening metallic screech. He leaps backward to get behind the monster, but look at this. No wonder they call it a two-faced bear. He ducks and spins to dodge the slash, aiming a deadly strike straight at its neck. After these 2 test attacks, he notices it only blocks. Capitalizing on his brief distraction, the bear strikes at his throat, but Chendu easily raises his blade to block it. Instantly flashing behind it, he targets the tail. Sharp sword chi slices through the air, clean cutting the tail right off. He literally soloed an entire medium-sized wolf pack all by his damn self. Probably not quite there, but he's a genius who learns 10 things from seeing just one. Teacher Zhang doesn't deny it. Principal Zhou Chang explains that round 2 is a brutal one-on-one setup with life force capped at level 5. 150 fighters down to 75. The ultimate survivors making the top 10 will jump straight into tomorrow's grand finals. Looks like they were just the 4th team to qualify yesterday. Seeing the very first match pair, the whole crowd absolutely loses its mind. Haiqing captain Zhou Xiao is squaring off against Luang's captain, Wu Zhang. Instead of fear, pure murderous intent explodes out of him, heavy and violent like a volcano ready to blow its top. Her deep blue eyes look calm, but they hide a bone-chilling cold. To her, this match isn't a struggle. Don't sleep on Chendu from Longkin. Chendu can't wait to see the showdown between Zhou Xiaolu and Wu Zhang. His sharp aura flares as his eyes burn with battle lust. Wu Zhang draws his blade, getting into stance. Both of them get blown back by the shockwave and Wu Zhang rolls once before getting back on guard while Zhou uses her crazy flexibility and insane reflexes to keep her balance. Zhao Xiu tier 190%, Wang tier 190%. Wang swings his sword hard, ripping through the air as a flash of light flies straight at Zhou Xiaolu. Wang is not letting this slip, raising his sword high into the air, ready to deliver a brutal final slash. He elbows her dagger straight out of her hand. This guy's guard is seriously on another level. Turns out Wu Zhang kicked her right in the chest, sending her flying as she spits out a mouthful of saliva. Her eyes turn dead serious. Right then, the system panel flashes wildly, showing her combat stats soaring straight to 99%. This sword intent is insane. Dagger and great sword collide, creating a blinding shockwave that blasts outward in all directions. Then the unthinkable happens as she uses her insane reflexes and combat skills. He actually gets even more hyped, laughing out loud and telling Zhou she is as strong as they say. The clash speeds up instantly. Fast-paced attacks explode with sharp purple and pink energy. Stepping directly on Wang's sword arm to crush his posture and completely lock down his attack. Teacher Ling counter-questions if the step after 99 is really 100%. Teacher Ling seriously reveals the real secret behind tier 199 to 100%. The daggers in her hands unleash beautiful flowing waves of purple energy, whipping through the air like a long rope, forcing Wu Zhang into a desperate defense. The teacher's calm voice explains that universal mastery basically means swapping weapons. Using a different weapon to unleash the exact same basic martial skills from before. He roars, spinning his sword into a vortex before slamming it down in the first dance. He is using an agile sword to mimic the 4 heavy mountains splitting stances of Fifyung Trifap. Next up comes the intent. Before he can even process this massive information overload, Instructor Ling drops another absolute bombshell. Pulling off giant staff moves with a tiny dagger is just pure insanity. Relying on her brilliant tactical mind, she easily sees through the illusions, spots his real body, and instantly drives her sharp dagger right at Wu Zhang's throat. Zhou Xiu is definitely not some easy target. She lunges forward for the final blow. Wu Zhang was never open at all. Suddenly, the system screen glitches out as it displays a shocking power level for someone under 19 years old. Thick dust and smoke billow everywhere, blinding the crowd as everyone holds their breath, staring at the blast center. Even Instructor Mark Lung breaks into a cold sweat, staring in absolute disbelief as the giant screen starts showing a slow-motion replay of that intense split second. Using his momentum to unleash a savage, lethal blow, he let out a wild, arrogant roar. Completely terrified, Wang's eyes widen as he barely manages to gasp in sheer disbelief. Cutting straight through the violent waves, Zhou Xiaogu maintains her icy gaze, swinging her blade with zero mercy. That is absolutely unbelievable. Up in the VIP section, the high-ranking figures are busy gossiping. Turns out this is actually Zhao Zhou's dad. Xiao Yan can only nod in agreement, knowing that keeping up their competitive drive is crucial for these students. Beside him, the white-haired guy nods, casually breaking down the brutal reality. Wu Zhang is pretty solid too, but too bad Heaven Phoenix Martial Arts University already snagged him. One spectator literally covers his mouth, yawning and about to pass out. A cold electronic chime rings as the massive system board overhead flashes through random names before slamming to a halt. That brief silence gets completely ripped apart as the crowd goes absolutely wild. Every single step he takes onto the arena carries this heavy invisible pressure. The guy with the highest combat power who swept up every single badge on day 1. Things are finally getting interesting. Judoran's eyes instantly turn icy as raw killing intent flares up. Chendu explodes with insane speed, turning into a literal blur as he charges. The arena floor beneath them cracks like a spiderweb. Look at the massive screen. Judoran flashes a twisted grin, trying to wrap this up so fast. Don Chin blade style first form unseen blade. A brutal blade wave tears through the air. Clashing in a split second, Chendu's brain analyzes everything. There are no what-ifs in this world. Each heavy step he slams onto the ring, echoing with a deep rumbling blast. Thin blade style fourth form Getsuga Tensho. The sword intent in his hand explodes in a blinding flash as he blocks it head-on. Flowing light sword style second form endless golden drums. Contestant Chendu's martial skill level has reached 99. His strength is actually at his over. His earth prison sword key forms an invisible cage, completely shattering Judean's entire defense in one clean sweep, knocking him completely unconscious right in front of thousands of stunned spectators. Up on the student observation deck, those two hidden teachers from Chilean Academy are already losing their minds. The white-haired teacher frowns, muttering that a level 9 spirit power is too high to call boring. Under 18 years old, level 11 life force, level 10 spirit power, and peak tier 1 combat skills. He hesitates for a second, then decides that compared to Judean, this kid is definitely the real deal. Round 2 is finally over. Inside the break room, Chendu sits cross-legged with his eyes closed, meditating and reviewing his fights. China's hand trembles with pure excitement. Suddenly, sharp claws rip through the air, lunging straight for his face. His phone breaks the silence with a text from Teacher Ling. Teacher Ling smiles and points to a chair, telling him to sit down. Chendu's pupils instantly shrink, right up there with Black Dragon and Heavenly Phoenix. The Keelan class is a holy land, channeling all the school's elite resources to forge the strongest sky-soaring martial artists on Earth. Teacher Yu Jiang looks surprised. Teacher Peng Fi emphasizes just how heavy this contract really is. Teacher Ping Fi shakes his head. To keep cities totally locked down and safe, only active duty warriors or high-tier sky martial artists get to travel freely. Chendu lowers his voice. More than half of the sky martial artists protecting humanity comes straight from the top 3 Mies. Teacher Ling sighed, smiling helplessly. Zhou Xiao is tearing up the floor, her footwork looking like a straight-up ghost. Her eyes go wide as she unleashes her energy, making her staff roar even louder. Keep dreaming, kid, and focus on winning tomorrow's championship instead. Tomorrow's championship trophy is definitely staying right here in High CH. Suddenly Chendu's eyelid twitches. That level 9 spiritual power is no joke. Teacher Ling explains that Principal Liu thinks highly of him, which is why he made the trip down here. Congratulations to the top 10 students who qualified yesterday and moved on to the grand finals. Stage 2 will be a random draw gauntlet match. For Stage 2, the system randomly selects one of the top 5 as the first challenger to battle the other 4 players, earning 2 points for each win and losing 1 for a loss. This loop goes on, and if scores tie, a random challenger is picked. If there is a tie and the system has to pull a second challenger, there is only one real outcome. Chairman Cook is facing Chendu. Group 2 has Haicheng's Wu versus Zhou Cheng's Zhang Tao. Group 4 is Seg's Yaya Zhou versus Yan. Chinu is so terrified of senior sister Chu that he didn't even dare fight her. With that trash skill, President Hook easily wins. Over on Haicheng's side, a student boasts that senior Wu easily outclasses his opponent. Honestly, his talent is right up there with Wu. Chendu sizes up Qu Zhangtian. Chenu locks instantly, identifying his opponent's martial arts style as he parries the incoming blow. Chendu quickly realizes that the guy's strikes are getting heavier by the second. Chendu blocks with his blade, tensing every muscle, but his legs shake and his hands go completely numb. Springing backward to dodge, another shocking realization hits Chendu's mind. It is just infused spiritual force. With his mind clear, Chendu's aura instantly shifts as his eyes go dark. Instantly sensing the danger, Qu Zhangtian flares his battle spirit and refuses to hold back, laughing maniacally. Chendu launches forward like a rocket. Second form Golden Bell Sky Barrier. He smiles arrogantly, changing moves in a split second. Chendu shifts his blade trajectory once again. Third form Forest Breeze Shield. Nobody in the crowd even saw him draw. Standing tall before him is the cold, unwavering figure of Chendu. With one single slash that decides the whole match, Chendu actually did it a total lightning-fast victory. Maxed out martial skill, putting him right on par with this year's top genius Zhou Xiaogu. Suddenly that brief silence shatters completely as the arena erupts in pure shock. Seriously, nobody saw this dark horse Chendu being this insanely strong. Chendu smirks, thinking they must be dreaming if they think they can fish for info. Chendu actually improved by another 1%. Teacher Ping Fi gets his partner's look, muttering that it is hard to say but the odds are super low. Otherwise it would just be way too ridiculous for martial arts. She only has a tiny bit of potential to become a soaring martial artist. The upcoming matches are definitely going to be wild. It is absolutely unreal. Who could have guessed their opponent would pull off a breakthrough at the very last second? Even if Chendu is pretty good, her speed and raw power are on a completely different level. Chendu frowns silently, thinking that now the first round is over. Just then the system screen flashes a very familiar name. Glancing toward the west stands with a pretty smug smirk playing on her lips. She is insanely confident, but honestly, this plays right into his hands. The audience goes absolutely wild, eager to see if she can instant kill the dark horse Chendu. Zhao Xiaolu swings her long staff, her eyes flashing with pure determination. Immediately unleashing her brutal fourth form of the sacred dragon staff technique, the flooding of the heavens, Chendu is in absolute peak mode. Chendu's vortex acts like a black hole, swallowing up and redirecting Zhou Xiao's massive flood attack. Chendu's martial art proficiency is at 100%. She realizes that if he can redirect her attack like that, he must be going all out right now. Not letting her reset, he closes the distance instantly. Right hand on the hilt, he is dropping low for a lethal quick draw. He asks if there is some weird blue glow covering Chendu while his buddy gasps, asking if he sees it too. Up in the VIP section, teacher Lingyun smirks. The recruiter Yuzong is absolutely losing his mind. Chendu's mental power has officially evolved into a full-on martial soul. Stomping his foot, he turns into a blue streak of lightning, tearing the air apart as he charges forward. Launching a lightning fast strike, he forces Zhou Xiaogu back. Spotting an opening, he swings his sword down, carrying the absolute weight of his martial soul. Chendu is not about to waste time in a raw strength contest. Using her own momentum against her, he pulls off a flawless midair flip to dodge her counter. Losing her balance, she stumbles forward, her balance is totally shot. He presses forward, unleashing heavy, brutal strikes. The power of a martial soul is on a completely different level. Eyes wide, she blocks every single blow with stubborn grit. His presence is absolutely overwhelming. Seeing this insane display of power, the VIP section goes wild. The kid was hiding his true cards all along. Over with Keelan University, Pingf is calculating the profits. They will have to swallow their pride and approach him again. Yu Jiang turns to ask her father with a deeply skeptical look on his face. Hearing that, Zhou Cheng just flashes a smug, super confident smirk. Chendu's sword and Zhou Xiao's staff slam together in a shower of sparks. On the flip side, Zhou Xiaogu is totally chill, staring him down with a very cocky grin while telling him that he is not half bad. No time to think because the prodigy Zhao Xiao is already moving. Zhe Xiaogu seizes the perfect opportunity, spinning midair to swing her weapon down with massive force. Chendu has to grit his teeth, raising his sword horizontally to block her brutally heavy strike. Completely drained, Chendu drops his weapon and falls to his knees, gasping for air as his body trembles. Chendu's lips slowly curl into a sharp, fearless smirk as he confidently spits back at her. Mental shockwave, war trample activated. He was channeling his entire soul spirit power straight into his eyes. Chendu intentionally took those heavy hits just to pull his mental strength for one fatal surprise attack. A deep purple void wraps around the space, cutting off her senses from reality. Inside that psychic space, blue flames violently erupt. Tearing through the smoke, a massive black monster with glowing red eyes towers over her. Watch this, his golden opportunity. Helpless, desperate screams erupt everywhere. She can't lose like this. Chendu's blade swings down fast and absolutely merciless. Up in the VIP stands, his master plan completely ruined. The fight is over, but the shock waves are just starting to rock the VIP seats. Since Chendu figured out mental martial arts on his own, his psychic power will 100% reach level 15 or higher. If his vitality gets a boost, he is totally a Void Wolf seed. Scoring a grade A talent is like finding gold. Not wasting a single second, Jiang drops a decisive order. The principal strokes his beard, evaluating Chendu's request with those incredibly sharp eyes. A prospective martial artist who wants to protect his family. His voice suddenly drops, drawing a dead serious line on the rules. Getting splashed with cold water. Cut to the afternoon battle arena where the dazzling spotlights shine bright. The announcer's voice booms loud, marking a major milestone in this 100-city tournament. Chendu's head is completely cool and calculated. He frowns, breaking down the fight with brutal honesty. There are no what-ifs. The secretary walks in, carefully reporting to Principal Zhao Cheng. He rubs his temples, replying coldly that they will do it next time. He drops a top-secret order packed with massive dark ambition. The scene shifts from the brutal arena to a warm family dinner back in Lingchang. Chen he raises his beer, laughing with pure pride. Seeing his family so incredibly proud, Chendu smiles warmly. In this rare moment of peace, Chendu realizes that being with family is the ultimate happiness. Chendu asks, totally confused, why she suddenly wants to live in the school dorms. A weird noise echoes nearby. Before she can even finish her sentence, a creepy headless creature suddenly appears right in front of them. Without any intrusion alarms, that is completely and utterly impossible. Chendu quickly scans the beast's features and a wave of cold sweat drenches his back. Instantly, Chendu grabs his sister's wrist and screams at her to run. Damn it, his sword is at home. With a sudden flash of desperate determination, he rips a massive rusty rebar straight out of the concrete rubble to serve as his temporary weapon, treating the rebar as a blade. It lands, but Chendu freezes in terror as he realizes a pretty fatal flaw in his weapon. With a single counterpunch, Chendu is sent flying backward through the air. If fighting is a bust, his only option now is to search for a quick window to escape. Chenlun refuses to run. Seeing this, Chendu's eyes nearly pop out as he overloads his spiritual power, lunging forward and screaming for the beast to stay away from his sister. Flowing light sword play has increased from 99% to 99%. This is true enlightenment. He brings the energy blade crashing down on the monster's head, but the absolute rules of the martial world are brutal. His absolute maximum effort strike fails to even scratch the monster's insane defense. He intentionally draws the silver demon's aggro while clicking his smart band, screaming for Xiao Zhang to send an emergency SOS. If this incoming strike doesn't kill him instantly, maybe he can use the brutal impact force to launch his sister to safety. Out of nowhere, the silver demon's massive body is utterly obliterated into a million pieces. Under the dim moonlight, a hulking figure steps forward, reporting loudly into his comms that the target is down and there are no civilian casualties. Chendu instantly snaps back to his usual calm demeanor, thanking his savior and identifying himself as a student from Lingang High School No. 1. Meaning that brutal deathmatch was just a setup, a sick test. He hopes this little accident they set up tonight forces Chendu to finally open his eyes. Slumped in a dark corner, he taps his smart wristband to pull up a hologram of his sister's text. Chendu calmly transfers some cash over to her, typing back that he is totally fine. Literally standing at death's door tonight dealt a massive shock to the young fighter's whole reality. He realizes he was way too naive. They wanted him to face reality. That fight was a brutal wake-up call. Raw life force is the foundation of everything. Say goodbye to the naive kid. He used to think so simply. Fast enough to strike first. Just as his murderous aura reaches its peak, a sudden knock shatters the silence. He offers a warm, friendly smile. Playing the polite student, he greets the principal, asking what brings him by. He says he bought it specifically for him as a sincere token of his appreciation. Set an unprecedented record and bring home Ling Changjing's first ever championship trophy. Chendu accepts the present with a quiet, polite nod. Seeing how casual and familiar the principal is with every corner of this room, Chendu gets highly suspicious. That's a massive compliment. He asks why his clothes are completely covered in dirt, looking like he just rolled on the ground. Even though Hu Chang warned him to keep quiet, Triel alone doesn't really count as spreading rumors. He stares straight into Lai's eyes with a cold glare, saying he has a pressing question he absolutely needs answered. His face twists in crazy exaggerated shock as he rushes over asking about that rank 8 silver demon. Chendu keeps a stone-cold face, completely ignoring all the principal's cheap theatrical drama. Sensing his student's sharp, unyielding attitude, Principal Liu instantly drops his goofy act, his face turning dead serious. Because once normal people learn the truth, a heavy sense of doom suffocates the room as Chendu holds his breath to ask what happens. High martial civilization would just completely crumble. With the peaceful illusion finally broken, Chendu accepts that his true path as a martial artist has decisively begun. Out of nowhere, the silver demon's massive body is utterly obliterated into a million pieces. Under the dim moonlight, a hulking figure steps forward, reporting loudly into his comms that the target is down and there are no civilian casualties. Chendu instantly snaps back to his usual calm demeanor, thanking his savior and identifying himself as a student from Lingang High School No. 1. Meaning that brutal deathmatch was just a setup, a sick test. He hopes this little accident they set up tonight forces Chendu to finally open his eyes. Slumped in a dark corner, He taps his smart wristband to pull up a hologram of his sister's text. Chendu calmly transfers some cash over to her, typing back that he is totally fine. Literally standing at death's door tonight dealt a massive shock to the young fighter's whole reality. He realizes he was way too naive. They wanted him to face reality. That fight was a brutal wake-up call. Raw life force is the foundation of everything. Say goodbye to the naive kid. He used to think so simply. Fast enough to strike first. Just as his murderous aura reaches its peak, a sudden knock shatters the silence. He offers a warm, friendly smile. Playing the polite student, he greets the principal, asking what brings him by. He says he bought it specifically for him as a sincere token of his appreciation. Set an unprecedented record and bring home Ling Changjing's first ever championship trophy. Chendu accepts the present with a quiet, polite nod. Seeing how casual and familiar the principal is with every corner of this room, Chendu gets highly suspicious. That's a massive compliment. He asks why his clothes are completely covered in dirt, looking like he just rolled on the ground. Even though Hu Chang warned him to keep quiet, Triel alone doesn't really count as spreading rumors. He stares straight into Lai's eyes with a cold glare, saying he has a pressing question he absolutely needs answered. His face twists in crazy exaggerated shock as he rushes over asking about that rank 8 silver demon. Chendu keeps a stone-cold face, completely ignoring all the principal's cheap theatrical drama. Sensing his student's sharp, unyielding attitude, Principal Liu instantly drops his goofy act, his face turning dead serious. Because once normal people learn the truth, a heavy sense of doom suffocates the room as Chendu holds his breath to ask what happens. High martial civilization would just completely crumble. With the peaceful illusion finally broken, Chendu accepts that his true path as a martial artist has decisively begun.